Let's flip the conversation now and talk about the state of the nation. Yesterday, you heard Senator Ali Ndume on this program speaking and reacting to the decision of some agencies of government, such as the CBN and FAN, under the Aviation Ministry, planning for logistics, administrative issues to relocate some units and departments in those agencies to Lagos, near and closer to their operations. But it's gotten some reaction, and he's warned that the president needs to be careful because this is highly political and that this may cost him dearly. Now I'm being joined by a former Minister of Communications, Mr. Adebayo Shittu. He joins us live here in Abuja studio. Thank you so much, Mr. Shittu, for joining us tonight. Pleasure. Yeah, the president is out of the country today, and there are those who say Plateau is on fire. Maybe not literally, but Mango is under attack, and the president said he's away on private. There are those who are critics of the president who say, is it the right time? It's coinciding the clan curfew or the place like that.
Why do we call governors the chief security officers of their states? If the president must himself be physically there.
And the president, the chief security officer of the nation.
Look, he is a commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And you know how many people are in the armed forces of Nigeria? At least, they cannot be less than 500,000.
So it doesn't matter if the president is around or not?
The president, wherever he is the president and commander-in-chief. We should not, it's not a very personal thing. We have the chief security officer of the state who already has been taking action. He's the one who imposed, a 24-hour, curfew. And is relying on the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria under the commandership of Mr. President. He has all the support of
You're one of those who spoke so loudly for a Bola Tinubu presidency. But in the spate of insecurity and the rise in the criminal activities and violent activities that we've seen in the past weeks, what do you tell those who you have boldly told and you have campaigned to that these things will be fixed? It's about 7-8 months after
this security situation did not begin today.
But you said you have solution. You said you have solution.
You need time to solve the problem.
But people are dying.
No, people are dying, but we must be charitable to members of the armed forces and the police who are sacrificing their own lives to confront, these, the bandits.
The question is, are we doing the right thing within the time space that we have?
Anybody who has better information or better expertise should come out to say it, because Nigeria belongs to all of us. The problem is not the problem of Mr. President alone. It's not that of the armed forces alone. The channels of communication are always open, and anybody who has better ideas should come forward. Let me tell you, there's no Nigerian who does not have a representative in the National Assembly. When you talk of the federal government, it is made up of 3 arms: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. And to that extent, if you cannot reach Mr. President, you cannot reach the armed forces, you have your representatives either in the House of Representatives or in the Senate. We can pass information to them. I want to believe that the members of the armed forces who have been on the front line must be commended and must not be discouraged. They must not be demoralized.
We are the first here to commend them because they are doing a very difficult job.
They are doing a human's job, of course.
At that rate, you cannot also say that people who are dying, you cannot put to task those who promise that they have the solution to the insecurity problem. And the president has said, look, I have conversed for vote. I promised I would do it. I begged for the job.
And he's doing it.
The question is, people are dying.
Look, it's unfortunate that people are dying.
Yes.
Look, when people are kidnapped, the armed forces can go into the bush and start shooting everybody. But there will be collateral damages. And do you want an eye service of an action?
But we thought that there was a playbook. We thought that there was a grand plan. That this government
was going to work on. Get the armed forces encouraged, to get them equipped, to give them all the resources that they will require to confront bandits. And I can tell you in the south, in the northwest, a lot of soldiers are in the bush, spending weeks there.
But what is it that we do not know, Mr. Shittu? You've been in government.
See, yes.
What is it that we do not know that is escalating this insecurity?
You see, this thing has been generating over time. I am told, reliably, that insecurity in the Northwest in particular is a kind of rebellion against the established order of leadership and followership. Our late mentor and political leader in Yoruba land, Baba late Obafemi Awolowo, once said, if you refuse to educate the children of the poor, they would ensure that your own children, who must have been well educated, cannot sleep with both their two eyes closed. The type of thing that is happening in the Northwest, you cannot find it in Southwest. Because education has been given the right priority and it has been universalized. In the North, unfortunately, the situation is not the same. That is one. The second reason I am told, which aggravates the situation of insecurity, is that over the years, the Fulanis believe that whatever they do or do not do, their cattle are seized from them by the establishment, their wives are taken over, they are put in prison for, a lot of things that they may not believe that they have done. And this thing has continued over decades. And they got to a stage where they felt a sense of rebellion, that they are also human beings. They don't have education, they don't have anything to life, and they are being oppressed, with due respect to those who must have been involved or who may think that what I'm saying would affect them directly or indirectly. So it's a kind of rebellion. That is why you find young people who decide to go and live in the bush, in the forest, because they have nothing doing. And you are not talking of 10,000 people, you are not talking of 20,000 people. They're in hundreds of thousands who do not see any hope in life, except that they want to take a pound of flesh on the rest of society. So I would think the starting point is for government, both at the national level, federal level, and the state level, is to impose or establish free education at all levels, so that it becomes an offense for anybody to refuse to send his children to school.
Just a moment. Let me allow. There was a stakeholders, the leaders of the North met today. In that meeting, I'd like you to listen to some of the submissions today. Maybe we can start by proffering some solutions to help our nation. Because the sad story here is that any person that is killed today, a woman is a wife of somebody, a daughter to somebody, and is a wife to somebody. The man killed today is a child to somebody and is a father to somebody. Take a listen to Professor Atairu Jega and, of course, a former Minister of Agriculture, Audu Ogbe.
This chaos is caused by three things. One, the economy. Two, the economy. And three, the economy. There are no rural industries. So there are no jobs. So our children graduate, hang around the village for a while, and they have to go in frustration. They go into crime, into the forest, into kidnapping, where they can call a poor man and his children, take them to the bush and ask for 50 million. It doesn't connect.
Rather than continue to promote the phenomenon of vigilantes in our communities, perhaps we may as well go back and get the Constitution appropriately amended so that we have formal institutions of state policing, because those will be formal, they will be easier to monitor, easier to discipline, easier to control, and easier to actually train appropriately for the fight, not just against insurgency, but also for longer term law and order provisioning and peaceful coexistence in our communities. The way the phenomenon of vigilantes is going, frankly, in fact, we need to start applying the brakes. Otherwise, it may now become another monster that can get out of control in no time in our communities.
All right. Those are some of the thoughts of those speakers at that roundtable conversation about the state of this nation. I would like you to comment also, but also I'd like you to listen to these two leaders, former heads of state, Abdulsalami Abubakar and the Sultan of Sokoto, Sahad Abubakar. Take a listen to them.
Certainly, a lot has been discussed and said about insecurity. There are volumes of literature that abound in this country. So I hope that at the end of this roundtable, we will implement the recommendations.
We Nigerians in particular do not lack proposals, issues, knowledge of how and where we should bring solutions to our problems. What we lack is implementation.
Those are the thoughts today shared. Economy issues, state policing issues, and these are thought leaders in the North who are proffering solutions into the insecurity situation. But if there is something and one thing that you think that the president can capitalize on in stemming the tide of this insecurity, because the manner in which it's going, it looks like everyone is confused about the situation of things. What do you think that the president needs to be doing immediately?
Well, the president needs to get all governors, all senior leaders, particularly in the North, talking. What is worrying at all is what's doing well. And so the issue of fighting insecurity is an issue that will continue to malign the integrity of the presidency. And I have suggested that the first point is to ensure that everybody has access to education, every child in this country. That is the way you would not be allowing insurgents to be able to get people to recruit into your fold. People who have hope of life will certainly not prefer to live in the bush. It is when people become so desperate that they know things are so hopeless that they resort to taking arms. Even in Lagos, 2 weeks ago, somebody was on tape saying that if the economic situation does not improve within 2 months, he's going to take up arms. That was in Lagos. I mean, so the economic issue is very crucial. And so where you are able to ensure education is available, the next thing is to provide skills training for people. Even those who are not educated now can be able to can be taken through skills training. Wherever there's hope, there would be life. But when people are left in a hopeless situation about their lives, about their future, so the thing is they would want to resort. So,
I mean, don't you think that there is less and less trust of the people in government and some of you who are political leaders because they think that you failed them severally?
Well, the truth is also this. I mean, I know a lot of people are getting despondent, but we must also appreciate that these things did not start today. Nobody in his right senses, for instance, will say that it is Bola Ahmed Tinubu that, created the insecurity situation we are in.
But the Buhari government promised that it's going to wipe out insecurity.
But you see, you will recall.
Although Mr. Additional was saying that you didn't mean what you said about you saying that Buhari does not.
I never made any negative reference to Buhari in regard to insecurity. The truth about Buhari's handling of insecurity is when he came on board, the only problem of insecurity was in the Northeast, the Boko Haram thing. Before he came on board, 24 local governments in the Northeast were effectively under the control of Boko Haram. But within 2 or 3 years, he eliminated that. He got people, resettled in their homes. He got, the 24 local governments liberated, and, there was.
But we had so many other insecurity situations almost across all the parts of the country.
No, but is it government that is bringing about this?
But government has promised that it's going to.
Yeah, but they have always. There's no
government
time.
Is responsible to secure the people.
Let me tell you. You see,
isn't that a failure in some sense?
The crisis about insecurity is about war against a war of soft targets. Criminals will never give notice that they are going to strike anywhere. So there's no way to prepare for.
What's the place of intelligence and intelligence gathering?
You would ask the security forces, not the president.
But the president's role, control.
The president's role is to provide whatever they need. And you would also agree with me that the gunboats that the military before Buhari never got to buy, during Buhari's time, more than 10 of such were acquired. Even now, that acquisition of more gunboats, is going to...
Because, I
have also said, you see, when you are fighting insecurity, remember that some innocent people are in the custody of these criminals. If you just, think it is about a kinetic war, about a physical, bombing, those who are victims of insecurity will also get bombed.
I mean, there's a reference when Mr. Femi Adesina was here on the launch of his book, and I referenced what you said about the style of leadership of Buhari. That just gives you an appointment, but he never even check on you, if you don't.
But I have also stated with regard to insecurity that he did very well by liberating all the local governments in the northeast, which were then under Boko Haram. That's certainly...
You're not changing the fact that Buhari will give you responsibility and will never check on it.
He gives responsibilities, but he's not too... with due respect, he's not very effective in supervision. Administratively, I'm saying now. Not about the war. Of course, the war commanders are answerable to him, and I believe they were always holding meetings with him to chart new courses and to make their demand. We have never heard of any complaint from the armed forces about they being, shortchanged with regard to, their requirements for the ongoing insecurity war.
Let me get your view. Senator Alin Dume on this program spoke about the relocation, and he reacted to it, of some departments and agencies of government to Lagos. And he was warning the president about that it might have some political implication. What are your views on that?
Well, Ali Nwe is my very good friend, and I respect his intelligence and, his spirit of nationalism. But I want to say with due respect to him, I know a number of Northerners are taking this issue too personal. Look, Nigeria, the central bank being in Abuja, it's not in Abuja because Abuja is in the north. It's in Abuja because Abuja is the capital of Nigeria, and to that extent, Abuja belongs to all of us. For instance, nobody can drive any person away from Abuja. If any agency of government finds it convenient for administrative purposes to relocate any department, why must it be tribalized? Why must it be, made, an issue of north-south dichotomy? I think it is rather unfortunate, and it does not speak well of those who see this as perhaps, if wherever any department of government is, can anybody of any tribe be prevented from accessing it?
So you think it's okay?
I think so. I think so, and it's rather petty.
How do you then douse the tension for those who think that these are political?
They need to be educated and to be reminded that Nigeria belongs to all of us. At our level, at the level of Senate, at the level of National Assembly, at the level of ministers, we should think as Nigerians. We should not, be, too, clannish, if I may use the word. I think it is unfair, and you wouldn't expect that it will be the president who will say, governor of central bank, take one department. Who would have as well, if that were feasible or possible, he would have say they take the Abuja back to whatever. These are departments, and for administrative purposes, any part of Nigeria would remain home to every department.
Let's take a break now, Mr. Shittu. Let me get a final word from Mr. Adebayo Shittu on the program today. Where do we go from here? There seems to be a lot of division in the nation under the President Tinubu's watch, and they're largely religious, ethnic issues. How do you think the president can deal with this? Well, just about 60 seconds ago.
God would advise him, God would guide him, God would support him. Let me say this, as a Muslim, I'm trained to pray for all our leaders. Because if they get it wrong, all of us will be negatively affected. So I want to appeal to everybody in this country that the best they could do for Mr. President is to keep praying for him, because he's a human being like the rest of us. So that is very important. He needs prayers, he needs guidance of God, and he needs the support. Finally, to Mr. President himself, he must take the rightful action in redeeming the local government system in this country. The local governments are under a state of comatose because our governors, most of our governors, will not allow them to be. And nobody seems to care about it. We have a three-tier federal government. How would it be if the federal government were to start compromising the resources of the states?
We need to go. Do you feel disappointed that appointments have not been fully...
Well, it will come.
You've not gotten any...
Well, it doesn't mean I will not
and
get...
a very loud voice
well, I did my best. I can assure you...
But you're hoping for something, isn't it?
Well, if it comes, I am not jobless, but if it comes, I will see it as an opportunity to further contribute to national development.
Thank you so much.